Hello and welcome to Instilling Disability Pride in Your Child. This is presented with Disability Network Southwest Michigan. I am your facilitator today, and my name is Miranda Grunwell. I am the Community Education Program Manager here at Disability Network. My contact information and phone number are on this slide, where you can reach me if you have any further information or questions that I could help you with. I'm here to help support you in this journey and as you learn. So thank you again and welcome attending to this training, Instilling Disability Pride in Your Child. I'm your presenter, Miranda Grunwell, and really looking forward to you being here today in this presentation from Disability Network Southwest Michigan. Disability Network Southwest Michigan is one in a network of 15 centers for independent living in the state of Michigan and approximately 400 nationwide. If you are in the state of Michigan, you can find your local center for independent living by going to the Michigan Statewide Independent Living Council website, misilc.org, and click on the resource tab. Or if you're outside of Michigan, you can usually find your local CIL by Googling the state and the county name and the word Center for Independent Living. Next, I would like to thank our partners to help make this presentation possible. Paving the Way picture and logos are on the top of the screen to show the thanking all of our partners on here. This training is brought to you by Disability Network Southwest Michigan, the Paving Way to Self-Determination program. Paving the Way to Self-Determination is a program for families and children with disabilities, which helps provide resources and trainings to prepare children to live independent and self-determined lives. Paving the Way to Self-Determination is a collaboration with the Michigan Developmental Disability Council, the ARC Michigan, Michigan Alliance for Families, and Charting the Life course. It is made possible through funding from the Michigan Developmental Disability Council. Before we get started today, I'd like to provide for you a brief definition on what a disability is, and we do this to help with common understanding of what the word means. The ADA, or Americans with Disabilities Act, states that a disability is a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities. Major life activities can include things like movement, sight, strength, breathing, comprehension, decision-making, and so much more. A developmental disability encompasses all of these traits as well, but it is also a disability that occurs before the age of 22. So it is possible for a child to be born with a disability or something that happens that affects the child prior to the age of 22. As you look at the photo in the slide, you will see a group of young adults posing for their summer internship at Disability Network. We use this photo because usually by looking at it, you can't tell that any of these young people have a disability. And that is illustrated because we would call these non-apparent disabilities. People can have a disability even if they don't have one by looking at them. So now I would like to get into our presentation today. So my very first slide here says, what is disability pride? And so disability pride can mean different things to different people. There's no one right way to think about disability pride or view it or think about it. It's also a process. It's a thing, We don't learn, as a society that having a disability is a good thing. And so it takes time for people to learn what disability pride is. So before I get into this, I would like you to stop and think. Have you heard of the disability pride before? And if you haven't, that's okay. Most people haven't. Disability pride is something that's not usually taught or considered. Society teaches us that having a disability is a bad thing, and it's not. Disability is just something that some people have and some people don't, and that's okay. And so it's just really important to think about that today and know that there's no one right or wrong reason. And so my question to everybody now is, what is disability pride? What would you say it is? How would you describe it to your child if they asked you what disability pride was, or if they could have pride in that disability? And so thinking about that. The image on the screen is what I think of when I think of disability pride. It is a strong advocate in the disability community, Stacy Milburn, and it says on here, it's the image is a photo of her. She's sitting in a power chair, and she has a trach, so she has a finger on that as she's speaking. and is saying, I would like to leave a legacy of disabled people knowing we are powerful and beautiful because of who we are and not despite of it. And this was a quote from her at the LGBTQ Pride in 2019. Also on this slide, which is slide 4, is a video that you can click to play on your own. It says, what is disability pride? And it says video, and click to play that. So I encourage you to pause this recording and go and watch that video by clicking on that link. And that's just a really great idea. You can hear from young people and what they think disability pride is. Again, there's no one right way to think or feel about disability pride. And so I would like you to hear it from many young people and what they think disability pride is. So what is disability pride? Disability pride is the idea that people with disabilities should be proud of their disability identity. Having a disability is a natural part of life and is a characteristic that some people have. Disability is natural. It should be considered a natural human diversity characteristic like race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or gender. Society has decided that a person having a disability is a bad thing or a sad thing, and it's something that we need to overcome to be better than others. We shouldn't have to overcome our disability just like we don't have to overcome any of our other identities. People with disabilities are the largest minority group, representing all different abilities, races, age, ethnicities, religion, and social economic backgrounds. Disability pride focuses on the social model of disability. The disability community views disability from the social model, though, saying that having a disability isn't a problem that we have, it's a problem that society has, and that we need to change society and we don't need to change people with disabilities. The problem is the inaccessible environments that are created, not the people. We can change the environments, but we shouldn't have to change people. July is also Disability Pride Month here in the United States, and it is celebrated on the anniversary of the passing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. So every July, no matter where you are, there's usually many different activities, either in person and virtual, where you can join in and celebrate disability pride. When I was growing up, I am a person with a disability. I was born with a disability. I was born with a learning disability. I always remember being told all the time I needed to hide my disability. I needed to act normal, pretend that I was normal. And that just created a lot of feelings for myself that I didn't like myself. I didn't really view or have any high opinions of myself. I had pretty low expectations of myself because that's what was taught and given to me. And I didn't really understand what my disability was or how that really affected me until I had the opportunity to learn about disability pride when I was a senior in high school. And for me in that moment, learning about disability pride, it changed my life. Learning about disability pride gave me connection to a community. It gave me an identity. It helped me feel like, yeah, it's still as bad sometimes having a disability, but it's not the disability that's the problem. It's when somebody tells me I can't do something because of my disability, or I can't have access to something because of my disability. It's not me that is the problem. It is the other things. And so I don't hide my disability. I'm very open about my disability. I tell people about it, I explain about it, and I also educate people so they can learn that there is no shame in having a disability. It's just part of who I am, and there's lots of things about me. My disability is just one small part of that. There is also a disability pride flag. Has anybody seen or heard this flag before anywhere? Most people haven't, so if you're saying no, that's okay. And even I've only learned about it in the past maybe 5 years, and we're currently in 2024. So it's okay. Disability Pride flag was created by Anne McGill, and is shown on the screen here. It is a gray field, and it shows the mourning and the loss that that people with disabilities suffer as a form of ableism. Ableism is the mistreatment against people with disabilities. The diagonal stripes from the top left corner to the lower right corner corresponds with how people with disabilities have to navigate barriers in creative ways. There are 5 colored stripes: red, gold, pale gray, light blue, and green. These represent the diversity and the needs and experiences within the disability community. And the parallel stripes represent the solidarity within the disability community. The image on the slide is that flag. It is a visual safe image. And so the colors are lighter and designed in a way that it wouldn't trigger a seizure or any other disabilities that have problems with that. And so that's why it's designed with lighter colors compared to what most pride flags are. It originally was first came out in 2019, and then it was redeveloped in 2021 with those lighter colors to represent and help that those communities feel more included, where those bright colors were harming some people in their disability. You can go online and order disability pride flags and stickers and shirts and all of those things. So there's many different opportunities to do that. So if you'd like to show some disability pride in your home or community or classroom, know that that is an option there. On slide 7, I would like to talk about the Accessible Icon project that is going on here. In the fall of 2019, the state of Michigan has officially changed the accessible icon that is used here in the state of Michigan. This is a part of a national movement to change the icon to better reflect a person with a disability. A person who is in motion and movement. People with disabilities have places to go and things to do. And so it takes the usual figure that we're used to with a person sitting upright and move them forward in this movement forward to show the action that we have and the places that we need to go. It's helped to also show pride in who we are. So as an activity that you can do with your children or class is when you're out and about in the community, have them look for the new sign and spot it out. So places just when things are getting updated is when the sign has to be. There's not a certain time that it has to be done by. And so that could be a fun activity, talk to your children about what it is and then see if you can, as you're driving or going out on walks and stuff, seeing if you can find those different images and thanking those places that have updated their images too. And accessibility standards. So on slide 8, why do you as parents need to have disability pride? And so disability pride helps promote self-esteem, ensuring that helping parents to install this self-worth and confidence and belonging in our kids so that they can focus on their strengths and abilities. Far too often when you have a disability, you only hear about the negative things or the bad things or the things you can't do, which you do have to do sometimes in school settings. You don't get programs and services by talking about all the great things your kid does. You do have to talk about those negative things to get programs and services, and that's fine. You have to do what you need to do in those systems. But in home and other places, they should be hearing about all these great things that they can do and learning about their strengths and how those strengths will help them in the future. Because of my disability, I'm extremely organized, and that has come in great handy in my adult life. But I didn't realize that strong skill I had in school would be a skill that would be, very beneficial, and has helped me move up in my job and my career through the years. It also helps foster positive identity. It helps kids develop a positive identity about all of themselves and not just their disability. Helps kids learn about their disability as being part of them, but not all of them. And that it's okay to have that. And it's okay to have good days and bad days with that identity. Sometimes it's frustrating. It also helps to fight stigma. Society will place stigma on the kids with disabilities. And so helping them fight that to know and recognize that they are different and they are valued and that they can celebrate those identities is really important. It also helps as advocates with advocacy. It helps parents to become a positive advocate for their kids and then pass that on to them, because you won't always be able to be their advocate as they get older. And so just teaching those skills and passing those on, the younger that you can start that, age appropriateness too, and what your child can do and handle. And so make sure that you can do that and help them be a part of that. It also helps build relationships. By embracing disability pride, it shows your children that they can love and accept themselves and others in their community, that they have a disability, and build their community around them to help support them and these natural supports, and not always having to rely on parents, because we all need help from people, and that's okay. Even if you have a disability and needing that, nobody gets through life with no help, and it's no difference for anybody with disabilities. It also helps build resilience. Kids with disabilities face challenges out in the community, and so disability pride helps provide them with tools to work through this and to have some of those problem-solving skills that is important to them as they're growing and getting older. The image on this slide is of a woman sitting in her power chair at a rally holding a sign that says disability rights are human rights, just again to show that pride can happen at any age. And so how do we teach kids disability pride? This isn't something that, we usually learn. People with disabilities don't learn this, and neither do you as parents. And so a couple of ideas and things to think about as you're teaching disability pride to your children, that it is something that's going to take place over time, but pride does help kids to develop their self-esteem, self-worth, and understanding of their abilities. To start with, I would have open communication. Start by having an open and honest conversation about your kids and their disability. Use the word disability. Disability is a protected class, and that's what allows them to get programs and services, not special needs or differently abled or any of these other names. We really need to teach kids that it is disability, because that is protected under the Americans with Disabilities Act, which is what will help them when they're out of school. So, answer their questions about their disability. Let them know that it's okay to talk about their disability. It's okay to be happy about their disability. It's okay to be sad and angry and all of those feelings that we have. You get to have those about your disability, good and bad, and that's okay. And so help them to know that and process that. Also have positive language. Use powerful and respectful language when you're talking about your child's disability. Use neutral language. And also when you talk about other kids with disabilities, kids that might be in their children's class, and making sure that you're talking about that and modeling that, and that how disability is okay to have, and that there's nothing wrong with them or special, and their needs aren't different. Their needs are what they have, and those needs are protected by the Americans with Disabilities Act. If you'd like to learn more about positive language, I do have a presentation on here called Power of Disability Language, and you're welcome to listen to that as well, where I'll talk more about powerful language around disability. Also, get your children connected to positive role models. Talk about other people that they know in their community with a disability. It can be famous people, but maybe it's people in your community where you naturally are, places that your children go and are going to see those, whether it's friends, family members. If you see something on television or social media that shows disability in a positive way, talk about that with your children. This just really helps to normalize differences. Everyone is different, even people without disabilities and people with. So teach them that everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and that's just part of human diversity. It is what makes us all unique and interesting, and that there is nothing wrong with having a disability. Also, do educational activities. Do age-appropriate activities to teach kids about their disability, teach about other disabilities. This could be reading books, watching videos, attending workshops. You could also have them design their own disability flag. The image on this slide is of a young girl who painted a disability pride flag. You can have them do that, color or cut, or have them make something. Like I did this project with a young group of people, and I had a boy that took a green piece of paper and had drew a lion on it, because lions are strong like him, and his favorite color is green. And that is his disability pride flag. And so it was hung up in that classroom, and along with everybody got to do one. And so you can do activities like that. We do have book recommendations for you too on this PowerPoint, and so you can look at some different age-appropriate books that you could read. Also help teach self-advocacy, so kids can learn to stand up for themselves. This helps to help them build understanding about their own disability and themselves, their rights when they're at school or work or out in the community. Something you could say, like, my child might need assistance with, and helping them learn to then say that for themselves is, I need assistance with. Because we all need assistance with things, and that's just one way to talk about that. And I also help highlight those strengths so that we can focus on those things that we can do. So often when you have a disability, people only focus on the negative things. So let's focus on those positive things and the things that we can do. The image on this screen is a child with an afro with puffy hairstyle holding in pigtails, and it's holding up a disability pride poster. So next we're going to get into an activity that we have, and this is we're going to need to pull out a piece of paper and a pen, or pull up a screen, however you like to write. You can also think about it in your head too, but I wanted us to do an activity to get us thinking about what disability pride is related to our children. So on this sheet of paper, or whatever you're using, I want you to think about the following 4 questions. What are you proud of about your child? What is your child passionate about? What goals does your child have? What are they good at? So you can go ahead and hit pause and take your time that you need to answer those 4 questions about your children. And then when you're ready, come back and hit play. Perfect. Welcome back. So now that we have this done, if you don't have that complete list, that's okay. You'll think about things and you can add things over time. There is no right or wrong way to do this. The image on this screen is a rainbow background and it says proud of who I am. Know that your answers too are private. Sometimes we do this in person, and so I didn't want anybody to think that any answers would be shared or anything. This is totally something you're going to keep to yourself. So part 2 of this activity. Now I want you to look over this list and make some kind of mark. You can check it, highlight it, whatever, make a mental note about any of the items that are on this list that your child's disability positively influence or they have gained because of their disability. So for me, some of the positive things about my disability is I think also my job and my career. I do disability rights and advocacy and education, and I think I'm good at it because of that lived experience. I know what it's like to face discrimination. I know what it's like not to get a job or have access to programs and services to disability related. So I think that's a positive thing in my job and my career. It also helps connect me to a community that I wouldn't be a part of. The disability community is amazing, and it's fierce, and it's connectedness that I've never connected to another group before, and so that's really helpful. It's also helped me be organized. I have to write papers ahead of time to get them edited because of my spelling and my grammar. I need to take time for that. It also has made me really passionate about voting rights. I know what it's like to be denied voting because of my disability, so now I'm very passionate about making sure everybody has access to vote, and so it's a passionate area of mine. Again, it's disability related. It's something that's prideful in me and who I am. So go ahead, you can hit pause when you're ready to go ahead and make those marks next to those any way that you feel comfortable doing that. Okay, perfect. Welcome back. The image on this screen is a light-skinned child in a power chair smiling for the camera. So part 3. So on that sheet of paper, I want you to add to that list. So if there's anything that you thought of that you didn't write down, go ahead and quickly add that. And put those on there. So like one thing that I had thought of after I did this is my work ethic. I've always had to naturally just work harder to keep up with the kids in the other classes, and so I do that now. So I have a very strong work ethic. Because written communication is very difficult for me. My learning disability affects my reading, writing, and spelling. I have very good spoken language. I can talk things out. I can break things down and explain things. And so I think that's also what helps with my career. I'm very good at breaking things down and explaining to them in ways that I could never write to explain. I always prefer to call and talk things out, much better than writing anything down. So add to that list, take your time. There's no right or wrong reason. You can save it if you need to come back to it later as you think of things. You can also do this activity with your child and have them think about things too. There's truly no right or wrong way to do this. And so just take the time that you need. The image on this slide is of letters that are like cut out of a magazine and kind of placed all over. And it says, the truth is disability is beautiful, hot, kick-ass. And then it has other words crossed off like unlovable or tragic, just showing that there's, different ways to think about disability. And so when you're done with that activity, you can go ahead and hit play again and move on to slide 13. So the follow-up to this activity then is disability pride is not something that your child will develop overnight. Pride is something that comes from many places. It's not always great to be a person with a disability, and that's okay. Having a disability is just part of who you are. It's one of the identities that you have, and it might not even be the most interesting one. Some people have intersectional identities, meaning that this idea that people can have multiple identities that come together to create who they are. These people could identify as somebody as being disabled, part of the LGBTQ+, your race, your religion, your ethnicity, your background. And all of those things come together to create who you are and the beautiful self you are. One identity isn't good or better than the other. It's not dominant over the other. They're just identities that you have, and it's all okay. Someone with a disability identity is just one part of who they are. You may be proud of your disability, but not other identities, and that's okay. I identify as being a woman. I also identify as being disabled, and I'm very proud of both of them because I know both groups have had to fight for rights and I don't take those for granted for the things that I can do because of people that have fought for that. And so just think about those things and know that disability is truly a journey, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's however it works best for you and your family and your child. As you're learning and growing in disability pride, it's also really important to know and learn about disability history. Again, it's something that we're usually not taught, and so we need to take that time to learn that. The first Disability Pride Parade was held in Boston in 1990. This was the same year as the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law. Then the first Disability Pride Parade, which is the largest that I know of, is in Chicago, and that started in 2004, and it still takes place today, and it's usually in July, right around the anniversary of the ADA. Today, now there are several places that have hold these across the country. Places like the UK and Norway and South Korea all have disability pride parades and events. Other places like Houston and Atlanta and New Jersey and Columbus has them. Colorado does as well. So there's lots of places. It's not just, a local thing. It is an international thing, being disability pride. Different countries celebrate it at different times, but here in the United States, we do celebrate it in July. There's a long history of people with disability fighting for our rights. We do not have our rights because people in government thought it was a good thing. We have our rights because people fought for those rights. People with disabilities demanded those change, climbed the Capitol steps, chained themselves into the rotunda of the White House or the Capitol building, and said, "We demand change." That is why we have our rights as people with disabilities, not because anybody thought it was the right thing to do. But these are history lessons that are not taught, and so that's our jobs to teach those things so that way children know that they're part of a larger community. We also need to make sure that we're encouraging schools and others to be teaching about this all year long, so that way everybody learns about disability rights and disability history, because more than likely this isn't probably being taught in most schools currently. The image on this slide is an image of President George H.W. Bush signing the Americans with Disabilities Act alongside several disability advocates on the White House lawn. And so this was very significant because he could have done this quietly in his office, but he chose to make it very publicly. And there were people with disabilities there when this was signed into law. And so as we get ready to wrap up, I want to just ask again, what does disability pride mean to you now? Did you learn something new? Did your views or thoughts change? Is there something that we talked about today that you want to think more about? And also think about what is one step that you're going to do to start teaching disability pride. You don't have to do everything at once, but just thinking about one step. How can you slowly start moving your child in that right direction to join disability pride? On slide 16, I have a list of those books that I had recommended, some great resources and some things that are available to help you and your family learn more about disability pride and history. And so there's a list of books there that you can get, and they're in accessible formats as well. I also have a slide of additional learning. These are different places that I have used to gather information and opportunities to learn more. I do want to provide a warning. There is a movie on here called Crip Camp. It's available on Netflix and YouTube. It is not a family-friendly video. I would please watch that as yourself as the adult and then decide if it's appropriate for anybody in your family. Then we want to thank our partners again. Thank our partners for Centers for Independent Living, the Michigan Developmental Disability Council, Michigan Alliance for Families, the ARC, and Charting the Light course. This slide has information about all of the partners, and you can click on their links to gather information from all of our great partners to help make this possible today. The very last slide is just questions and comments. It says Disability Network Southwest Michigan. It has my information again. It's Miranda Grunwell. My email is grunwellm, so it's last name, first initial, at dnswm.org. So again, just thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me and spending this time with me. I hope you learned, and again, if I could be of any help, please reach out, and I'm looking forward to talking to all of you soon. Thank you so much. Bye now.